First, let me start off by saying Tom Aspinall is a great MMA UFC fighter. He is a great interim champion, and I'm glad that he was awarded the title of official heavyweight champion because Jon Jones decided to retire. Having said that, he is also an arrogant prick. I don't care what anyone says. Every time he speaks, he's hyping himself up to the point that you would believe that his record is better than the people that he's going to fight, such as Ciryl Gane, which it isn't, because I'm going to tell you right off the bat, here is Tom Aspinall's record. Now, I'm going to give you all of the fucking details right now. Tom Aspinall, 32 years old, born April 11th, 1993, all right? 6'5", 251 pounds. He's a big boy. 15 wins, 3 losses in his professional career. Now we're going to go to Ciryl Gane, 35 years old, 6'5", 246 pounds, an equally big boy. Same exact height, same exact weight. Not exactly. Okay, so he's down by what? 5 pounds, whatever. 13 wins and 2 losses. Now, you would think that Tom Aspinall would be eons above Ciryl Gane, right? He has more wins and he has one more loss, but obviously, I mean, the people he fought and the people that he lost against are going to be major names, right? Okay, let's look at Tom Aspinall's losses. I'm going to go all the way back down. His first loss was in a league called Bama 21 to Stuart Austin. He was submitted. Let's look at Stuart Austin's career record, 19 wins and 8 losses. All right, not that impressive. His second loss was May 14th, 2016, also in Bama, number 25. Lucas Parabiak. Let's look at Lucas's record, 12 and 10. Not exactly that impressive either. And then, of course, the third loss everyone knows about, unless you're a casual. He lost because he hurt himself to Curtis Blades. I don't officially consider that a loss. I consider that an injury, which it was. And we're going to get into a little bit of details as to why I'm doing this podcast. By the way, you know why I'm doing an audio podcast? Because I am a radio producer. I used to love producing radio shows. That's why they call me Jeff the Producer. Not like that other Hispanic dude who stole my fucking name or anyone else who uses the phrase Jeff the Producer. You're all fake. I'm real. I was actually an executive producer for major political talk show hosts in the New York area or New York radio. And then I became one of the first ever podcast producers in multiple areas. And I've set off the careers of at least 20 to 30 different people. That's not arrogant. That's a fucking statement as to why you are even hearing my voice. But why aren't you seeing me? Because I like classic radio, because I thought that's what podcasting was about, and I'm bringing it back to that. So, having said that, and I digress, I will now regress back into this 3 losses. So the third loss, I don't really consider Tom Aspinall to have 3 losses. I consider him to have 2 losses. But the third guy we know, Curtis Blades. All right, let's go to Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane, 13 wins, 2 losses. Who did he lose against? Oh, I don't know. Did you ever hear of a guy named FRANCIS Ngannou? Former UFC fucking champion, 18 wins, 3 losses. All right, one of the greatest heavyweights ever to fight in MMA. Oh, and by the way, who is Ciryl Gane's other loss to? His official loss. Oh, that's right, Jon Jones. And when did he lose? 35 years ago? No, he lost 2 years ago in his first ever heavyweight fight, Jon Jones's, to Ciryl Gane. So the only 2 people to ever defeat Ciryl Gane are 2 people that Tom Aspinall will never have to face ever in his life. He will never face Francis Ngannou, and he will never face Jon Jones. And if he does, they're going to be well beyond their prime. Whereas Ciryl Gane faced these guys in their prime. By the way, did Ciryl Gane get knocked out by Francis Ngannou? Nope. He went 5 rounds for him. It was a decision victory for Francis Ngannou, a well-fought and fun fight to watch. And then, of course, he must have got spooked out with Jon Jones because he tapped in the first round, and he just gave up. But he bounced back. That was 2023, and he got 2 wins since then. Once against Spivak, which was a TKO, and the next one against Volkov, which you people want to say wasn't a real win because you're all ass pain fans. But I digress. Let's get back to the matter at hand. You would think that with all of Ciryl Gane's arrogance, that he will be better than the guy that he's facing in a few days. And he's not. He's not better than Ciryl Gane because everyone was saying the same shit about Ciryl Gane that they're saying about Tom Aspinall now. He's the fastest heavyweight I've ever seen. I can't believe the way he's moving. He's moving like a middleweight. It's unbelievable. He's moving like a lightweight. Matter of fact, he's moving like a fucking no-weight. He's moving like he has no gravity. Okay? And Ciryl Gane's rise in his MMA stardom was rapid, super rapid. Tom Aspinall has training with his father since he was a little kid, 5-6 years old, because his dad was a judo teacher, and then he learned jiu-jitsu, and he got his black belt, I'm pretty sure, and he has he has a lot of background experience. Ciryl Gane just decided to start fighting, and he was a Muay Thai fighter. And then he decided to pivot over to MMA, and he became interim champion. By the way, the first interim champion. All you people are like, he keeps getting all these title shots. You moron. He got an interim belt. I think the only other guy to get it before him was Verdum. Two legitimate freaking heavyweight fighters, but once again, digress. Let's get back to the matter at hand here. I'm doing this because there is I want to say a 79% good documentary that was just put out for Tom Aspinall to basically say his road to undisputed. It's like, okay, road to undisputed. Number one, you just got the official heavyweight title. So you call yourself undisputed. Well, it hasn't been disputed yet. So you're not undisputed. You just got the title. You haven't even defended it. All right. That's number one. Number two, this documentary is completely incomplete. All right. There's so much crap that there's just left out, but it's 79% good. And I say that because it has a really good, strong start, but there's so many plot holes, so to speak. And one annoying guy whose name I'm not even going to mention. I am going to mention the person, but I'm not going to mention his name because I don't even want to commit his name to memory, because every time I see him speak or watch him conduct interviews with MMA fighters, I hate it because he's just not a good interviewer. He's terrible. But I will bring him up because a funny thing happened in the documentary with this guy because he's featured for some reason. So in this documentary, it is called, when I get the official name, it is called Tom Aspinall, Road to Undisputed, the documentary. It was put out 6 days ago by TNT Fight Sports. And of course, Tom Aspinall official. It's a little under an hour, and which is already a problem. I don't know why TNT couldn't get at least 2 hours of footage in this documentary, but that's okay. You know, they pretty much cover his career, which he's not that interesting of a guy, but there's other stuff that they could have put in there to make him more interesting. But let's get to the main problems with this crockumentary. The first thing, which is unbelievable to me, they have some legitimate people talking in there, like Michael Bisping. That's a great selection, right? Because he's basically the crown jewel of England, the great fighter, retired now. He's now an analyst, a sports talker, a podcaster, whatever you want to call him. Movie star. He's a great guy, and he was fantastic in the documentary. I got no qualms about him, but he makes a statement at the end. He's like, I believe Tom Aspinall is going to be the greatest English fighter of all time. Really? Ever hear this other guy named Paddy fucking Pimblett? I guess you didn't hear of Paddy Pimblett, dude. Another guy from, I believe, Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, like Paddy Pimblett, I don't know, maybe he's on his fucking road, is on the road to being the greatest English fighter of all time. I mean, 23 wins and 3 losses, 30 years old. I mean, let's look at who he just beat in his last, 4 fights. Jared Gordon, the most controversial fighter of them all, even he would say that wouldn't even been a win for him, but whatever, he won. Jared Gordon, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, Michael Chandler. And how did he win? Decision, triangle choke, TKO. So let's look at his wins, right? 7 knockouts, 10 submissions. Well, let's go to Tom Aspinall. 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. I'm going to say that again. Paddy Pimblett, 7 knockouts, 10 submissions. That's pretty evenly balanced, right? You go to Tom Aspinall, what do we see here? 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. Now, you would think that a judo guy who started when he was, 4 or 5 years old, whose father is a judo teacher, he would have gotten a lot more grappling submissions? Nope, only 3. So which one's more balanced? The guy that has 7 and 10 or the other guy who has 12 and 3? It looks like Tom Aspinall is a knockout artist. Okay. And in his entire career, he's never made it. I believe he's never made it to the 3rd. And again, this is something that's stupidly mentioned in this crockumentary, that only one person brought him past the first round, who's Andrei Arlovski. No, in his other 2 losses, you bring him to the 2nd round, he loses. So a good strategy for Ciryl Gane is to just run away from him for the 1st round and try to finish him in 2nd, because he doesn't seem to have anything past the 1st. I mean, you look at all of his victories, every single one of his victories, except for who the hell is this guy? Andrei Arlovski was in the 1st round, and pretty much under 5 minutes. And you look at Paddy Pimblett, no, he got some decision victories in there. This guy has 0 decision victories because he can't get past the 2nd round. But that's okay, right? That makes him great. But he's not well rounded. So I can't believe that Michael Bisping, why can't I say his fucking name? Michael Bisping. It's a tongue twister. I like to tongue my twist. I can't even fucking make a joke right now. God, it's because it's pretty late. Anyway, let's get back to the documentary. So I just think it's very careless of Michael Bisping to say that, very, very prematurely, that it wouldn't be Paddy Pimblett, but instead Tom Aspinall. All right. So now you get, let's be honest here. This time period, like the last 3 to 4 years of the heavyweight division, has been the weakest it's ever been. It was strong because of four people, and one of them was on his way out. The first one that was on his way out, but one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, Stipe Miocic. Why? Because he holds the record for the most undefeated wins holding the belt. But so you have Michael Bisping. Michael, I love you, man. So we have Stipe Miocic. Then we have this other guy you might have heard of. Oh, I don't know, Francis Ngannou. Then you have this other guy, Ciryl Gane, all top threes. And then, of course, Jon Jones, who just entered the division. He already has 2 wins, right? But that's it. Like everyone else, I mean, they're just on rotation to give the top 3 guys some people to beat up, right? Which is probably another reason why Jon Jones wouldn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, but I'll get to that later. So you have Aspinall claiming that he didn't want to fight Ciryl Gane because Ciryl Gane said no to him. And then he said that Ciryl Gane turned it down. Well, it was confirmed that Ciryl Gane never turned down a fight. Dana White said it during the press conference, so that was a lie that Tom Aspinall was perpetuating for the last 2 years. All bullshit. But the one that did say no was Tom Aspinall. So, weakest of the heavyweight divisions in the heavyweight division in the last 2 years in the UFC. Now, why was there no mention in this documentary that Ciryl Gane, the guy that he's about to fight, held the interim title before Tom Aspinall did? And everyone, like I said earlier, everyone was saying the exact same things about Ciryl Gane that people are now saying about Tom Aspinall. And the only reason they stopped is because Jon Jones beat him. I mean, Jon Jones just beat him in 2023. It wasn't like he was on a losing streak. And by the way, he won 2 since then. All right? Crazy. Now let's get to the Jon Jones situation. Oh, ducking Jones. First of all, no mention in this documentary that the real reason why Jon Jones didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall was because there was no incentive for him to fight Tom Aspinall when the money fight would have been, as we all now know, as I predicted over a year ago, it would have been Alex Pereira moving up to middleweight to try to get 3 belts. That was going to be the main event at the White House card. That is a much, much bigger fight than Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. And Jon Jones even said, well, if you want me to fight Tom Aspinall, you got to pay me $100 million, but I'll fight Alex Pereira for less. And all you idiots, because it's an easier fight for Jon Jones. You think Alex Pereira would be an easier fight for Jon Jones? Jesus Christ, you people are fucking insane. So no mention of that in the documentary. By the way, no mention that Tom Aspinall, while he was waiting for a full year for Jon Jones to fight him, could have demanded a fight, but he never did. He just decided to get some ring rust, and now he's going to fight Ciryl Gane with ring rust. Yeah, good luck with that one. By the way, no mention in this documentary of Stipe Miocic's heavyweight record, which hasn't been broken yet. By the way, they also never got into, which they mentioned very, very predominantly in the documentary, what exactly happened that was bothering him going into the fight before Curtis Blaydes? Because his father was like, oh, I know he had people around him that wasn't that well when we had to switch gyms and he was distracted. But then, of course, Tom Aspinall doesn't even say what was distracting him. So that's a plot hole. By the way, he keeps mentioning his 3 kids. I'm guessing he has a wife. There's some woman that he kisses 3 times in the documentary. I'm assuming that's his wife. I don't know. But there's absolutely no footage of this man, Tom Aspinall, spending time with his wife and his 3 kids that he's allegedly so proud of. That's a little bit weird. By the way, his father is featured. Why isn't his mother again? It's a little bit weird when you call this a documentary. Very incomplete. By the way, speaking of his dad, who has been there since day one, he's a great father. He's a great, great father. I have nothing against this man as a human being. He's great. He's always there for his son. It's a beautiful relationship. It's fun to watch him be his coach, in like the octagon. It's very, very cool to watch. He's a very skilled man. He vehemently defends his son against all bullshit. It's fantastic. But then he says something really stupid and ignorant and very, just like he sounded like a dumb casual. I'm not saying that Tom Aspinall's dad is a dumb casual, but this statement is a stupid, dumb casual statement. And I quote, his father says, quote, the UFC didn't have a really organized heavyweight division. They were all a bunch of barroom brawlers and whatnot. It wasn't real MMA at the time that my boy came up. Really? So you're saying that before Tom Aspinall started fighting, which was, by the way, let's see, what year did he start fighting? He started fighting in, what was it? It was in 2000. I got to look at the record here because his first pro fight was in 2014. Okay. And he's saying that like when he entered his first pro fight, there was no legitimate champions. Okay, well, his first amateur fight was in 2010. So why don't we go all the way back just to make it fair, since Tom Aspinall's dad, Andy Aspinall, is saying that there was no legitimate heavyweight champions. All right, let's go down the list. From 1999 onwards, until Tom Aspinall's first debut on the pro circuit in 2014. You tell me if these aren't legitimate MMA guys, okay? Who by the way, who held the belt? Mark Coleman, Maurice Smith, Randy Couture, Bas Rutten, Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Nogueira, Cain Velasquez, Fabricio Verdum, okay? Fabricio Verdum, you talk about, the guy was a jiu-jitsu king, right? He was the heavyweight champion. That was when Aspinall had his first pro fight. And he's saying that they were street brawlers? That they were like just barroom people who would enter the fucking cage and it was disorganized and it was terrible? Is he on crack? By the way, since Aspane got into the UFC, okay, let's see. Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, Francis Ngannou, Jon Jones, and of course, Ciryl Gane. And you're going to tell me that Tom Aspinall's dad is going to call, I don't know, Mark Coleman, Maurice Smith, Randy Couture, Bas Rutten, Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Nogueira, Cain Velasquez, and Fabricio Verdum just street brawlers? What a stupid, ignorant statement. Complete and utter delusion and misinformation. Irresponsible on the part of TNT to allow that to even be part of the documentary, because it makes his dad look very dumb. And his dad isn't dumb. He's a great fucking guy. I love Andy Aspinall. I love Tom Aspinall and Andy Aspinall together. I love Tom Aspinall as a fighter. As a human being, listen, there was so much shit left out. I want to know about his mom. I want to know about his wife and kids. I want to see how he spends his time with his kids. I want to know about him being beat up, because a kid doesn't turn out to be like him unless you got your ass kicked. Let's be honest. So it's a 79% good documentary, but it's 21% incomplete trash. And as an extra credit special note to my rant over here, there is some British interviewer, some bald guy that is featured throughout this fucking thing, who every time he does an interview, I only watch the interview because I like the people that he's interviewing, like Patty Pimblett and other people. But he asks the dumbest questions. He makes the dumbest statements. He is completely irritating and annoying during this documentary. There is a point where Jon Jones is filmed and he's about to do an interview with this bald-headed bitch, right? And Jon Jones goes in there, hey guys, what's going on? And he just stops. And before he even sits down, right in front of the cameras, he goes, you know what, guys? I'm not going to do this interview because this guy's going to only throw Tom Aspinall in my face. I don't want to talk about it. This is right before he was about to beat the shit out of Stipe Miocic. And he didn't want to deal with this guy asking about Tom Aspinall. So they let this guy talk on this documentary, this hack interviewer. And he says, it wasn't like I was going to ask him all the questions. I had a whole barrage, a whole series of questions that had nothing to do with Tom Aspinall. Dude, just so full of shit. The only reason why you had other questions is to soften him up, to get him ready for the Tom Aspinall statement. And you know what? The guy's about to fight. You're not going to talk to him about how great he was before he decided to be a heavyweight. You weren't going to talk to him about his amazing battles with Daniel Cormier or Ciryl Gane or Stipe Miocic or all these other guys that he fought, which were legends when he came up, when he was like, 19, 20 years old, in the light heavyweight division. So it's just... come on, man. Look, Tom Aspinall, great UFC fighter. Bit of a prick outside the cage, let's be honest. He lies a lot, and Dana White clarified that he's a liar, saying that Ciryl Gane didn't want to fight him. Ciryl Gane never turned down a fight. The guy that did turn down a fight publicly was Tom Aspinall, because he was a little bitch about the fact that Ciryl Gane didn't want to fight him. Like, why the hell would Ciryl Gane fight him when he's going to fight Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones? Come on, guys, honestly. And why would Jon Jones want to fight Tom Aspinall when he has the opportunity to fight Alex Pereira, a much bigger name, a much bigger draw? I mean, the guy that basically stalked Israel Adesanya, right? Stole his belt, then did what Adesanya couldn't do and move up to another division and win that belt. Now he's threatening to go up to heavyweight. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You're going to say that's not as big a fight as Tom Aspinall? Are you out of your mind? What would you rather see? Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira in the heavyweight division, or fucking Tom Aspinall, who just got his belt gifted to him because Jon Jones decided to retire? Ridiculous, crazy. Tom Aspinall, you're a great fighter, but you're a bit of a prick and you're arrogant. This documentary was a mockumentary. It was only 50 minutes. I want to see more about your family. I want to know what's up with your mom. I want to see you spend time with your kids. And I want to know about all the stories about you getting beat up as a kid, because no one turns out to be like you, an awesome, amazing UFC champion, unless you got your ass kicked as a kid. Trust me, I know.